make sure people have a landing spot. So there's really no consequence. The consequence, I guess, is that things are not going to be the same as they were for them. The upside is that we do try very hard to make sure people don't get laid off in this company. Like I said, we've gone down from 250,000 employees. We haven't laid off a single soul in the Postal Service. And we've gone through a few RIFs, we've gone through a reduction in force, we've gone through a few different downsizings, and we managed to find a place for people, or we send them off to another career with the best intentions, some kind of incentive. It's that they don't leave as millionaires, but they certainly leave knowing that we did the best we could for them.
Is the ultimate goal of this plan to have these part-time workers on a part-time basis with fewer or no benefits?
Ultimate plan is to save money. Is part of that plan having part-time jobs with no benefits? That is part of the plan, yes. But that plan is something that's engineered to, you gotta remember, like in a 4-hour post office, people say, well, how do you get staff that? Who's gonna work there? You would be surprised how many people are retired but can want to work at a post office for 4 hours a day. They seem to enjoy the work. They're not too concerned about benefits and things like that. It's a nice job. It's a clean job. They seem to enjoy what they do. Will there be people working part-time without benefits? Yes, there will. But we have that today. We have a carrier workforce that we just recently hired that work with no real benefits, no vacation, sick leave, annual leave, things like that. We have that on the workforce. I've always had, thousands of employees without benefits working for us, who just choose to because it's a part-time job, and that's what they want to do.
Well, I think that part of the plan stinks.
Well, for the person that wants to do it, they think it's pretty good.
But what about the person who's the postmaster now and wants to continue?
Well, like I said, we've made allowances for that by having jobs open that they can go to. They don't lose a thing. All they got to do is change positions.
A reduction in salary, and
Not
reduction in hours.
Not necessarily.
No.
We have jobs that we have full-time, same level positions that they can go to without reduction either.
Not around here.
No. But sometimes we can't always work in our backyard, unfortunately. A lot of people don't. It's I guess that's part of the American way, I guess. One only has to look at the George Washington Bridge if want to know that. I mean, people commute to work, they do. So it's part of what we do. Any other questions, concerns, comments?
I would just like to speak after you've done.
You can speak right now, sir.
I'd like to thank you, first of all, for being here today in our area. He kind of knows what goes on in the Postal Service and knows all the challenges of operating small businesses in Shandaken. As the poem, as soon as there's an electric problem or a crazy lady driving through the doors of the post office, he's the first to know. So we kind of consider him an ally in the post office.
Hey.
No disrespect, Neil, to you, because when I talk about the U.S. Postal Service, I'm kind of on the other side of the fence as far as the plan. Let's see. I wanted to thank Chris Gibson, his office, for monitoring the meeting. George, thank you, sir, for attending. All right, now some good news we'll start off with. The House Committee passed his amendment restoring 6-day delivery, which we all know the post office said, Saturday delivery wasn't going to change. Now, through the course of all these changes of the post office, they were lobbying Congress to cancel Saturday delivery. And with the help of a couple of congressmen and the Appropriations Committee, they blocked that. So Saturday delivery is going to continue for the next couple of years. So, okay. So now about our level 11 post offices. And what we're concerned about right now, I guess, is our town and the level small post offices. They were never intended to make any money when they were opened. I got to repeat that. They were never intended to be profitable. And that's protected by congressional law. that they said, they were smart enough back then when they opened up all these little rural post offices to say that they're gonna operate in a negative. So we're gonna put language in congressional law that they can't close them, or they have to operate with a max amount of efficiency. So someone was smart enough back then to do that. And now we're just going, I'm going to go back to that later as far as language and postal policy. But right now I'd just like to talk about the survey that we have here. And the 4 choices of the custom survey. They labeled it 1 through 4. I labeled it them a little differently. Starting with number 4. I call it choke the life out of us. Number 3, throw us under the bus. 2, shoot us in the foot. And 1, let us bleed to death. Okay? And the reason being, because the business model is probably one of the worst business models since Coca-Cola changed the taste of classic Coke. About 10 years or 7 years ago, someone woke up in the post office and said, we're out of money. And so what are we going to do? And someone said, well, the first thing is let's cut out career employees, the workforce of our career employees. Let's get them all to retire. And then what we're going to do is we're going to serve the public with part-time employees with no benefits by cutting out job force. Now, the Postal Service in our area is probably one of our #1 employers with a good job. Now, this is a real good job where you're able to support a house, a car, and live in this area, the jobs that we want to keep. So someone said, we can run the offices and serve the public, and we're going to make them retire and hire part-time employees for $11 an hour who won't care about the job, and put them in charge of a federal office for 4 hours a day. Then they said, let's take the only revenue stream we got, which they just mentioned, is the window, open window, and let's cut the collection hours by 50%. And we'll only operate for 4 hours a day. Someone said, that's unbelievable. What else are we going to do? Well, let's try to move all the post office into a mom and pop store. You know, the ones where they can't they can't even figure out the lids for the coffee cups, or work the register on a regular basis. Let's put them all in charge of about $15,000 worth of stamps a week or a month, and all the first-class mail. It's our Visa bills, our American Express, and all our private information. And we're going to deliver it to the mom and pop store. For one, my credit card got skimmed into Freshtown, and I had illegal charges. And let alone now, I'm trying to pay everything with paper to mail it to the post office so I can protect myself. So then they came up with another idea, which is the best one of all. This one I love. The ones that we can't move into the mom and pop stores, let's close. But first, let's do a study and see how much money we're going to make when we close the post office, and see what happens to the community. So someone said, great job. What do we call it? The postal plan, or the post plan. So on the serious side, we need to send a message to Westchester that Shandaken is open for business full-time. We want our posters open all day. By keeping the post offices open all day, we protect full-time jobs with benefits, good salaries that can support a family and a home in our community. The reduction of services is not an option in the full-time community. Okay, now back to the postal policy, which was written to protect rural America from this particular action by the Postal Service. The whole post plan is actually negating postal policy if you read the language in it. It's Section 39, USC 101, Section 101 Postal Policy. Paragraph 8, subparagraph 4 states, the Postal Service shall provide a maximum degree of effective, regular postal service to rural areas, communities, and small towns where post offices are not self-sustaining. So they already knew that back when they opened all these post offices. So the UPS is reducing our post office because they're not making any money. So with that said, I asked the town board to draft a resolution, the Congressman Gibson's office, to petition the PRC to open a docket, and that's how it's done. We got to first open up a docket with the PRC to review the language maximum effectiveness in regards to the reduction of service hours and the closures of said facilities, and put the hold on any discontinuances or changes until the PRC rules. That's all I got to say. So if we leave, if we look at the postal policy, we're already protected in Congress about these closures and the reduction of office hours. So just by petitioning, we're asking Chris Gibson, our congressman, to help us with the PRC, we can actually stop this. And we can have full-time post offices with a good salary, good employees. Look at all the benefits, the supporting employment that goes to support these post offices. And they're never going to come back. Don't be fooled. They're never going to come back. Olive area never recovered. We don't even use the word Alvin anymore. It's Shandaken. And those identities that we lose. And I can go on for hours how important a post office is when a storm. All the residents of Big Indian know it. A couple of months ago, we had the electric out. And that was out for 2 days. And we went to the post office. That's where we went. We went there at 4 o'clock a.m. When did we get power? It was a community thing. And, Yvonne was there, and she had all the information, and that's how we pass information in a small town. This is not Kingston. This is not Rosendale. This is unique communities. Geographically, we got the state land, we got the DEC, the DEP, miles of roads, 10 degrees difference between Phoenicia and Big Indian just in the winter. Our winters last 7 months. And we're entitled to the post office. Don't think they can just come in and say, hey, we're going to change it to 4 hours because we want to save money. They can't. We're protected by that. And we got to support that. And it's easy to be done to ask the congressman to actually have that language challenged. Because someone knew. They knew that because the little post offices weren't going to make any money. And Congress already knows that by blocking them stopping Saturday delivery, which they don't even collect any money on, a revenue stream on Saturday delivery, they said it wasn't going to be effective for the post office. They weren't going to make any money. They weren't going to save any money. And now closing the windows where their revenue stream is, where they make money, they're going to close them by 4 hours a day is absolutely ridiculous. They're talking about having the post office open 24 hours. What do they save? They don't save any electric. It's on. They don't save cable. It's on. They don't save the snowplow. All the expenditures are there. The only thing they're going to close is the window for 4 hours. It just don't make any sense. And I plead to the board and the residents here is that, to start that petition and really, have them, market it differently. There's different plans, not just a knee-jerk reaction to go down and say, hey, let's get rid of all our best employees, career employees. That made the post office great. These are postmasters. They don't want to say that. They're getting rid of postmasters. Mandatory retirement. And say, hey, go find another job in the post office. There isn't any. But if at least, at the very, very least, if these offices are open 6 hours, then a postmaster can stay in that position. Otherwise, you're going to get a part-time $11 employee that can't even keep their car running. You think to go in a snowstorm to open up the post office like our postmasters do on a regular basis? That's never going to happen. They have problems right now filling those positions. Who's going to work for the post office? And, I'm sorry to say, that's something that we have to fight for. And I hope it happens. And, I do own a post office. I get rent. That's not going to change. My wife works for the post office. That's not going to change. I'll fight for everybody else. A community. We're a full-time community, full-time problems. We want full-time post office. And I'm not asking for any difference. I'm just asking for what Congress mandated in postal policy that we deserve. Thank you.
Is it warmer here or is it my bed? Well, first of all, I believe it or not, I want to thank you for your comments. And I appreciate the fact that you're for a cause. Trust me. And I would encourage anybody here, as I do in every meeting, anybody that has an issue with post plan, even postal policies in general, okay? We work very closely with Congress. Congress is a, it's oversight by Congress. We work very closely to make things happen. They support us in a lot of issues, and but I'm sure they would love to hear the constituents as far as they're concerned. It's actually the way to go. Because unfortunately, I, in my meager position here, can't say, I'm with that guy. Let's change all this tonight. Because then I'm unemployed. But, yes.
Well, I'm glad there's a representative of our congressperson here, because I think the entire problem boils down to one thing, that the post office is required to pay the pension money in advance, which no other agency has to do. And that's the reason the post office is in trouble, because they have to put up all this money in advance. And as this gentleman said, you're under the hand of Congress, and you work closely with Congress. Well, why can't you get Congress to change that rule that you, the only place that has to pay pension funds in advance?
Well, just let you know, before we are working hand in hand with Congress to change that. You know, you gotta remember, we're asking Congress to change it. Postal Service agreed to do it. I mean, that's you have to remember something. Back when the economy was booming, when Congress said, can you make the $5 billion payments? We said, sure, we're making lots of money. Volume is up, business is growing. But then when things go south, we can't turn around and say, hey, Congress, why'd you make us pay this? We agreed to do that. So it's a question of just reassessing where we are as an organization, as a business. And Congress is working diligently, trust me. They really are, because we get internal memos that, to extend payments, re-amortize them, whatever you want to call it. And I think we'll make some progress on that. It's not a quick process. Like I said, just like moving to Albany. Nothing in the post office happens overnight. Like, trust me. This meeting was 2 months in the making. So, but I think like I said, I think the congressional people support a viable post office, especially in rural areas. I think there's some things that are going to change for the better, that will benefit not only our employees, but the service in general and the American public. And I think, we have a good working relationship with Congress, and we are all rowing in the same direction. Do we have a difference of opinion? No, we have a difference of opinion tonight. But is there some middle ground? Without a doubt. It's just a matter of seeing where people stand, measure the impacts, see what the long-term effects are, and just moving forward from there. But in the meantime, like I said earlier, post office has real bills, real money changes hands. We are not nothing goes on credit. We've reached our maximum borrowing limit for the Treasury. We have a $15 billion line of credit with the Treasury Department. We're at 14.99, so there's no more borrowing money. We operate out of a very small cash flow issue. We have enough money to operate for maybe 2 or 3 months. Businesses that makes $65 billion, that's minuscule in the big scheme of things.
Well, why would you close the one thing that makes you money? Is the window.
Well, because we're finding out that it's not our biggest money maker anymore. And that just goes back to what we were saying about stamp sales and whatnot. Our retail walk-in business, we have post offices that are open 8 hours a day in Westchester. We are probably down, I'm gonna say, we're down almost over 1 million retail transactions in 1 year. Less people coming in to buy stamps as the one. 1 million. That's just in one district. No one's coming in. They're buying the stamps at the supermarket, grocery stores, buying them online. They're shipping online. They don't need, unfortunately, to see that person face to face like they used to. Times have changed. We go to ATMs. We don't go to our bank tellers, we go to ATMs. That's what changed for the banking industry. You don't have as many tellers as it had 20 years ago for sure. Yes?
Yeah, do you know what's the savings by closing the post offices down here in Shandaken?
These casino right in, no. Overall, the plan, we expect to get between $500 and $600 million at the end of the year when it's fully implemented. Post office operates, we don't operate on a single post office concept. Every post office in and of itself doesn't have to make or lose money. We operate as a total business. So large city post offices bring in billions and billions of dollars to support rural post offices. So it's not a question of profit per station. It's a question of, at the end of the day, big or small, we're going to have $10 billion less than we need to operate this year. We're going to have $75 billion worth of bills and $65 billion in the bank.
But aren't we entitled to those post offices and the maximum amount of service?
That we can offer, yes. And
regular service.
And no one, you have 6 days a week strike that. But no one's closing any post offices. So I'm not saying, not correctly, but I'm saying, what's the other, closing post offices because we don't make money? I don't want anyone to leave here thinking we're closing post offices, we're not. Okay, so I just want to clarify that one issue, because I don't want to confuse
Well,
anyone.
said in the study, you said there was a discontinued study, but it was no.
Well, that was, well, you'd be surprised. There are those amongst us, maybe not in this room, who fully support less post offices. They really do. They have their own opinions. You know, there's a polar opposite somewhere than you. There's somebody driving around saying, boy, who needs post office every 3 miles? We should close some of these. And that's, we have letters that go in that direction.
Yeah, but they don't live up here.
No, it's true, but I'm saying, but that's their opinion. They write their congressman, they come to the local person, we have too many post offices, should they be downsizing? You know, why do you depend about losing money if there's a post office every 3 blocks? You know, there's a lot of arguments. We're a flashpoint for a lot of people in the post office, but we just go about our business. We just maintain what we have to do to the best of our possible ability, and we will continue to do that.
So is there another meeting that's going to happen, or is there
Boy, I
just
hope
going to be
not.
something? Well, but is it just going to be something in our mailbox that
Okay,
says,
all right.
okay, well, now this is what we're going to do?
Okay, here's how the time is going to go. We have this meeting tonight. You'll see a notice in the post office probably in the next week or so saying that we had this meeting, just in case you need me to remind you. After that, we'll look at operating hours, internal business decisions, external feedback. Before we make any changes, you'll get a 30-day notice prior. So if we're going to go, say, let's just say December 1st, you'll get a notice November 1st saying in 30 days, these are new operating hours. Okay, so you'll be notified 30 days in advance before anything happens. As far as a specific time frame, I don't have those right in front of me, but you'll be notified well in advance. And remember, operating hours is someone's in the building. Lobbies will stay open. Access to PO boxes remains the same. To parcels, the best possible way to get them to you, we'll try and supply everyone a parcel locker as best we can.
Are there going to be scales there so you can weigh your packages?
No. We can't accept packages like that because there'll be issues, there's security issues with that. You have to mail your packages face to face to somebody. That's just a Homeland Security mandate. You just can't weigh a package from mail.
So that means more business for UPS or FedEx?
No, not necessarily. It just means you'll just bring your packages, rather than bring them in at 12, bring them at 1. Hopefully. You know, hopefully you won't turn our back on us. We're doing the best we can. If there's nothing else, did I cover everything? Everything's covered and then some? I do appreciate you coming out tonight. I do appreciate the support, be it vocal or silent. Yeah, I realize it's there. And as this plan moves along, just, you know, again, we don't want to close post offices. We don't even want to close, we don't want to reduce their hours. But finances mandate that we do that. And in advance, I just want to thank you. I know it'll be adjustment for people. There'll be a little bit of a change in what you need to do, but we've done about 50 of these already. They seem to work out fairly well. You know, I don't get a lot of negative feedback. People change. Times change, people change, and I appreciate the fact that you're at least showed up here to listen to what we have to say, and we'll do the best we can do. That's all I got. Nothing else?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate the comments from the public. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn the public meeting portion, which is the town board meeting. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We will reconvene in about 5 minutes for a little bit of
Okay, we'll be back soon.
Go there.
Thank you.